Hello everyone and wish you a very happy Raksha Bandhan. Have you ever wondered why we celebrate Raksha Bandhan and why is it always celebrated around this time of the year? I'll tell you. This is the period of the year which according to the Hindu calendar is called Shravan. That's the time when the monsoons are just getting over and everything in the world is being reborn. When I say reborn, it's the period when farmers sow new seeds in the fields for a fresh crop to be born, when fishermen go back into the seas to start fishing once again, which is why they say that the world is being reborn. And that is celebrated in the month of Shravan through various festivals, Raksha Bandhan being one of them. Now, the origins of Raksha Bandhan can be traced back to the Vedic times. This is a time when, believe it or not, that wives used to tie a Raksha Bandhan around their husbands' wrists to keep them safe. In fact, there is also a legend that Sachi, who was the wife of Lord Indra, before his war against the demon king Bali, had tied a Raksha Bandhan around Indra's wrist to keep him safe. And of course, Indra ended up winning that battle. Then there is another story where Indra was so scared of Bali that he went to Lord Vishnu and he appealed to him that, Lord, Bali is your devout disciple. Can you please banish him somewhere far away where he will not be a threat to me? So listening to Indra, Vishnu banished Bali to the Patal Lok, which is the nether regions. But he did so with a promise, and his promise was that Vishnu would himself come and guard the Patal Lok for Bali. So obviously once Vishnu was gone, his consort, that was goddess Lakshmi, started feeling alone and lonely and she wanted Vishnu to come back home. So she dressed up like a Brahmin woman and went to King Bali's palace where she asked him to give her shelter. She said that my husband has gone for some very important task and till he returns, can you please give me shelter? Bali, being the generous king that he was, of course he gave shelter to the goddess Lakshmi. And then she tied a band around his wrist. But before that, we all know what happens when goddess Lakshmi comes into our homes, don't we? When she comes into our homes, she brings a lot of prosperity and happiness and wealth, and you don't want for anything. And that is exactly what happened for King Bali. He became very wealthy and very prosperous, and he knew it is because of this Brahmin woman who's come into his palace. So when she tied a rakhi around his wrist and asked him for a favor, he did not refuse. He said, you are like my sister and I'll give you whatever you want. And that is when goddess Lakshmi said, please allow my husband Vishnu to come back home to Vaikunt, which King Bali of course agreed to. And that is how, according to Indian mythology, the celebration of Raksha Bandhan started. But that's not all. In the modern times, when I say modern times, I'm not talking about the ancient times when the gods and goddesses were around, but even in recent history, whenever the Rajput kings were attacked from the northern borders by the invaders like Muhammad of Ghazni or Muhammad of Ghori or Alauddin Khilji or any one of those invaders from Central Asia, they would ask each other for help, and they had a very novel way of doing it. The queens would send a rakhi to the neighboring Rajput king saying that I am like your sister and my husband's kingdom is being attacked, so I would like for you to come and please fight alongside us against the invaders who are coming into our country. And that is how the tradition of Raksha Bandhan started. So these were a few tales. There are quite a few others which I have not touched upon. Like for instance, there is a tale of how once Lord Krishna got hurt and his hand started bleeding, and Draupadi immediately tore out a part of her sari and tied it around his wrist. At which he promised her that whenever she needed any help, he would be there to protect her. Which is why when Duryodhan and his other Kaurava brothers tried to disrobe Draupadi, tried to remove her sari, Lord Krishna came to her assistance and ensured that no matter how much they pulled, the sari never got over. So these are the various tales and traditions that help us establish the origins of Raksha Bandhan. So once again, I wish you all a very happy Raksha Bandhan with loads of happiness joy, and lovely moments spent with your siblings. Tune in to our channel of Biplob World on YouTube and on IGTV for more such lovely stories of why we celebrate various festivals, of course, amongst other things. One last message that I want to leave all of you with is, just as Raksha Bandhan is a festival where siblings promise to protect each other, this Raksha Bandhan, let's make one more promise, that we will protect and nurture nature and the environment just as how nature protects and nurtures us. Which means that we will take care of nature and make sure that we don't do anything or let anyone else do anything that harms the environment, and we take care of it just as we would take care and love our own siblings. So be good and have a great festive season.